Hi, I'm Kerry Cunningham, and welcome to the Science of B2B. I head up thought leadership and research at Sixth Sense, and I'm a former Serious Decisions and Forrester analyst. And I bet you're wondering why there is an airplane made of straw and sticks on the screen today. Well, we're going to talk about the relationship of this airplane and ones like it with our cult of leads and MQLs in B2B. All right, so this episode is primarily aimed at BDRs, SDRs, BDR, SDR leaders, and the people who love them, and of course, the people who feed them from marketing. Now, the term cargo cult is a term invented by the physicist Richard Feynman to describe something that happened in the South Pacific on the island of Melanesia shortly after World War II. So during the war, Melanesians were exposed to Westerners at scale for the first time. And what they really took away from that was that Westerners had a lot of what they called cargo. The Allies came in, they built airstrips, they flew in airplanes, they had airport towers, and they brought lots of stuff, lots and lots of cargo that, of course, Melanesians digged getting for the first time. It was pretty exciting and pretty cool, of course, as you could imagine. But after the war, and after all the Westerners left, the Melanesians developed what we could think of as kind of a cult or quasi-religious belief about the Westerners and their cargo and why they came and how they arrived in the first place. And their response was to build airplanes and landing strips and airport towers from the materials that they had on hand, sticks and straw, in the hope of attracting the cargo back to the island. Of course, that didn't work because people didn't come to the island with cargo because there were airplanes or because there were strips. The cargo just happened to come along with those airplanes and those things. Clearly, the Melanesians were focused on the wrong signal, on the wrong thing. Nothing they were going to do in building strips, airstrips, and airplanes out of anything was ever going to bring that cargo back. Well, very much like that in B2B, our focus on leads and magically scored MQLs has been a kind of a cargo cult. Now, occasionally, leads do precede the arrival of opportunities and deals, and we get very excited about that. But it's extremely rare. In fact, the average conversion of leads to revenue, closed won deals is between 1% and 3% in B2B. All things depending, and that's not very good. Yet, that is how most of us experience the arrival of deals, the arrival of opportunities, is that there's some magic lead that comes along. Well, the only way to know whether a lead is a good lead is not something about that individual person or what they're looking at. It's whether that person came with friends. If that person shows up with other people who've also filled out forms, or if they've shown up at the same time or in the same period of time as people have shown up anonymously on the website, then you have a good prospect on your hands. That's the signal or the set of signals that we need to be looking at. The idea that a lead is finally the good lead, or that some marketer, some CMO is going to swoop in and finally have the magic potion for developing the good leads that turn into closed won deals at a higher rate. It's mythology. It's a cargo cult. It just isn't going to happen that way. So sellers, SDRs, BDRs, stop asking for the good leads. The good leads do not exist. The only good leads are leads where that organization is also giving out other signals that they're in market. We call them buying group signals. On the average, B2B buying groups are about 10 people, and there are usually many other people besides that interested inside those organizations and out looking around on vendor websites. Today, we can pretty reliably see those signals in anonymous website traffic and the other people who filled out forms and not become MQLs. And when we see those things all together, plus third-party intent that tells us whether they're out in the rest of the internet looking around, that's what really tells us whether there is a legitimate buyer out looking for the kind of thing that we sell. In the meantime, all of those leads that you've gotten, virtually all of them are just people who are curious. They're professionally curious. Marketing makes great content. They are interested in that topic because it's related to what they do for a living. It's great to have those people consuming your content and falling in love with your brands or finding you useful, but most of them, most of the time, are not in market. And again, the only way to tell if they are is if they come in bunches. If they come in bunches, now we've got something to talk about. But any one lead that comes by itself, probably not. a prospect. All right, so that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed the cargo cults. Pretty cool. Google it, look it up. It's a pretty interesting story. And we'll talk to you next time on the Science of B2B. Thank you.